Welcome back everyone to Beer Bourbon Games, and today on the channel we have another bourbon review for you, and today we are going to review something from the very popular Evan Williams brand, so stick around to see what I think about this bourbon. Today we are going to be reviewing a very special product. It is the Evan Williams Single Barrel Vintage. Now, this is going to be a master distiller choice. So basically what happens is, in this it's a single barrel product, which means everything that comes out comes from one barrel. You're not going to get any blends. They're not going to be able to take things from different barrels and mix it together. They have to pick a specific barrel, and everything comes from that barrel. So you're not going to get a little bit of barrel A, a little bit of barrel B. It's all going to be one per bottle. Now, they do say that every year tastes slightly different because of that. You can't guarantee everything's going to be 100% the same, but they do taste pretty similar and smell pretty similar. So you're not going to get huge variance. I know some bourbons out there, they say avoid 1 year, go to another, stuff like that. You're not really going to have this. And this is going to be basically an 8-year bourbon. And the cool thing is, on the back of it, they do give you some information about the barrel that yours came from. So this one is going to be barreled on December 1st, 2008. And it was bottled on 11/14/2016. So almost 8 years that it was in there. And it was from barrel number 586. So I don't know if anyone else out there has a different year, but this was one from 2008. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about any other year other than that to see what you guys think. But overall, this one's from 2008. We've got a 43.3% alcohol, or 86.8%, 86.6 proof. So overall from that, I would say it shouldn't burn too much, though I do think I remember the Evan Williams having a little bit more spice than what I would expect for the actual proofing. So let's take a little look at the history of Evan Williams. So he was pretty important in the early days of Kentucky. He came over in about 1780. And he was originally from Wales, so he was an immigrant over to the United States, and he decided to settle in Louisville, Kentucky, and he settled right around the Ohio River. Now, there's a couple of really interesting things about Evan Williams. The first being, he was the owner of the first commercially owned bourbon distillery. So he is going to be the first one that was nationally recognized as a bourbon distillery. So anything else that had happened in the past was someone just kind of making their own stuff on the side. This was actually a legitimate company that he had set up. Now, very smart, he put it on the Ohio River. He could use that to easily transport his goods down the river to wherever he'd like, and later on that actually became a part of his plan. So, besides being in the bourbon making business, he also held a seat on their government. He would bring bottles of his whiskey to the meetings. They would kind of get drunk on his stuff and talk about political things, and you know, I think that kind of helped. Besides being into politics, he was also the first wharf master of Kentucky, and basically what that is they controlled all of the boats coming down the Ohio River. So they would come down, they'd have to stop at his wharf. He would kind of control everything before allowing them to go down to, normally they would go down to New Orleans, or New Orleans, depending on where you're from and how you would say it. So when the people stopped, he would regularly be seen kind of peddling his whiskey a little bit. Hey, I'll trade you this for that, and you take my whiskey down south. And it worked out really, really well. He had a lot of travelers coming. They would regularly come over and ask for his whiskey, and he made a really, really good business from that. So, very cool history of some of the things that he did. Very smart man to set up where he did, and he had a lot of power with what he had. So, now that we kind of know a little bit about his history, and let's go ahead and take a look at this bourbon. Now, Depending on where you're at, the price is going to vary a little bit. It seems to be around $30, and at my local stores this is $28 for a pretty nice size bottle. It is a good looking bottle. Looks pretty standard here as to what you would find as a whiskey bottle. I like the wax seal look, reminiscent of what Maker's Mark does. Very nice design overall. Just looks like a very classic bottle, so I really can't complain. If I was new to bourbon drinking, I would really be drawn to this. So they did a really good job with the marketing here. And this is going to be basically the highest shelf version of Evan Williams. A lot of people unfortunately associate Evan Williams with bottom shelf because of the black label. They don't really have any super high-end stuff, but that doesn't mean that they don't have good tasting bourbon. Just because it's not a $100 bottle doesn't mean that it's terrible. So let's go ahead and see how it smells and how it tastes and what we think about this product overall. So far we're pretty much 2 for 2 for the ones that we can review, and this is definitely going to be another good addition, I'm thinking. It's been a long time since I had it, and I don't really remember it. There's not really much taken out of the bottle, so I don't know if that's a bad sign, but we'll go ahead and see what we have. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the bottle here, see what we have for our nosing. And like we've said before, we do have a cork top. And smell at least, just I've done that for all of them. Very nice smell coming off of that cork top. I'm going to pour it into my sacrilege cup here. It's Buffalo Trace and Evan Williams. Hopefully they don't fight it out. Hopefully they're okay with each other. So let's put this off to the side here. Okay, so if we take a look here at our glass, or our bottle if it's easier to see, and I'll do some close-up here, some B-roll of this, and I'll throw it into it. But we have a very nice amber gold color. Very nice. Rolls very well off of the glass. It's not really staining the glass much. Slight little line, but it's very nice overall. So good color. It's very light bodied, so I would have thought for about the 8 years that it would have been a little darker, but it does have a very nice color. I can appreciate that. Looks really cool next to the light, makes it glow really cool. Brings out the color even more in that. I can see very nicely that it is an amber gold color. Beautiful color next to that. So I have some really high hopes for this. I think it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and smell it here a little bit. Okay, so most prominent, I would say, is the oak smell. There's a lot of wood smell in this. I'm picking up almost way too much oak. Very dark charred oak in here. You don't pick up much more than that. It's not a good sign on my part. I typically, I mean, I like oak, but I want some of those other smells and flavors to come out here as well. But it mainly seems like oak, and it doesn't linger too long. The only other thing that I can really gather from it is some caramel notes. Very similar. I mean, most bourbons have a caramel smell of some sort in there, but this one definitely is some dark caramel, and almost everything else is oak. So very simple nosing. Not much to really say about this one. So if you have it and you have the 2008 one, a lot of oak smell. Please let me know if you have another year, if it's any different than that. But this one here, it's pretty basic in smell, and mostly all I'm smelling is the barrel. So let me know if you have anything different than that. So let's go ahead and get on to the taste. Okay guys, so the most important part, and the one that you care about the most, obviously, is going to be the taste. So after smelling it, I'm going to assume that we're going to get a lot of oak flavors in here. And because of the high amount of oak smells, I'm guessing this is going to be a little bit spicier than what the 86.6% proof is going to kind of lead way to believe. You would think, I think it's probably going to taste more like a 100 proofer, one that's going to be a little bit spicier. So if you have acid reflux or stuff, this might be one that you want to avoid. But let's actually confirm this before I give anyone bad information. So let's see what our first sip tastes like here. Okay. It is coating the roof of my mouth. The initial taste wasn't very prominent, but then you felt it very, very smoothly actually roll back your mouth. I didn't feel it so much on my tongue, but I felt the bourbon roll back the side of my cheek and down my throat. And very oddly, there's no real burn. I would have thought, I was thinking it was going to be a little bit spicy. Didn't really get that. I had some really warm notes sitting in my throat here for a while. It's actually still kind of sitting in my throat. Definitely a warming feeling. So this is probably a really nice one to drink in the winter, kind of warm you up here. Almost like a winter warmer type beer. The taste of wood is very present. I will warn you, if you don't like very oaky products, probably one to stick away from, because I am getting a lot of dry oak tastes in my mouth. Still coating the top and the sides, and my tongue is a little bit drier. I can taste the oak on my tongue. But overall, not spicy like I thought it was going to be. The warming effect was good. And the flavor, honestly, just kind of throw it out here, because I know I always drink stuff neat. Maybe if it is a little too spicy for you, drop a little water in there, distill a little bit, maybe chill it if you need to, put in some ice, rocks. I don't do that stuff. I like to just drink it normal. But I think if you drop some water in here, it might bring out the sweetness a little bit more, and maybe cut down on that oak a little bit that I'm tasting. Might kind of get rid of that. But let's go ahead and do a second sip here. Very nice. Now that we had the first taste in there, the warming is a lot less. It's sitting here, but not as much, so I think we almost kind of got our body used to it. It's already pre-coated, so it's not really there. I'm getting a lot more sweet tones this time. We got some honey flavors in there. That was really, really nice. And on the back end, as it comes down your throat, this second sip, I'm actually getting some very light orange flavors, like almost like a mandarin orange, or just an orange in general. You do have some of the light caramel flavors like normal, and some very, very subtle vanilla, but the sweetness tastes more like honey than it does vanilla. So overall, very good flavor. This definitely got better, a lot better on the second sip. Let's go ahead and try the third and probably final sip here and see what we think about it. Okay, well, that was the third and final sip of that, and I think every single sip got better. This is excellent. The honey flavors were still there, but on that third sip, I let it sit in my mouth a little bit longer, and I almost got like a Granny Smith apple taste in my mouth. Like an apple, but slightly sour, kind of lingering in my mouth. Very interesting. So we had one, the last one I believe we had was very fruity, floral, stuff like that. This one is a completely different flavor. So master distiller, whoever you are, I don't know who it is right now with Evan Williams. I'm sure maybe there might even be more than one, or they may have passed it down to someone different since this guy. But whoever you are that selected this bottle in 2008, you did an excellent job. Love it. So let's go ahead and I will give you guys my final thoughts. Okay guys, so now for my final thoughts about this product. I would say that if you are a lover of bourbon, and if you're on this channel, I'm assuming you are, I would definitely pick this bottle up. Now it's $30 or around that price point depending on where you are. I can say for that amount that this is an excellent bourbon to have on hand. This could definitely be an everyday sipper. Just something that you don't mind bringing out for friends and family. This is a great bourbon. It's not overly complex. You're not going to get hit with a whole bunch of complex flavors and different things going on, but for the price, very nice. If you're a heavy rye drinker, you might be disappointed. There's not that super burn, super spiciness that some of those bourbons bring. For me, that's okay. I have acid reflux. I know a lot of people do. So that heavy burn stuff can kind of hurt the throat, cause that stuff to flare up. And this did not do that at all. So I can highly recommend that to anybody that has acid reflux. Evan Williams has been around for a long time. And that's just because they make very quality products. And you cannot go wrong. I really hope that someday in the future they do make something that's a little bit higher end than this. Maybe they will, but for this being kind of their top tier, you can't go wrong for the price. So I would say this is definitely a love it. If you are a bourbon fan and you don't have this in your collection, highly recommend you go ahead and go out and get a bottle and let me know what you think about it. Let me know what year you have. Again, I have the 2008. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, think about hitting the like button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know what you think and what bourbons you'd like to see next. If you're not already subscribed, think about doing so. And until next time, guys, I'll see you back on Beer, Bourbon, and Games.